Welcome to the Prosperity Podcast for entrepreneurs who are ready to drop the hustle and earn more. I'm your host, Danielle Amos, business and success coach, certified Proctor Gallagher Institute consultant, and lifestyle entrepreneur. Each week, I'll bring you amazing entrepreneurs who have built wealth, harnessing the power of their mind. Prosperity and money are truly about energy, and I'm on a mission to help you create financial abundance through the power of thought. It's time we started normalizing conversations about money and create the wealth that is yours. Are you ready? Let's do this. Welcome to episode 132 of the Prosperity Practice, the podcast that has you living your most abundant life. Today's episode is actually a clip from our Success Society, my client's webinar, this week's class. And we kicked off Reclamation, which is a program about identity and upgrading your self-image, because the truth is you'll never outperform the way that you view yourself in your own mind. So to me, this is the most important work that a person can do. Without self-image work, what I've noticed is people in my world, they'll start manifesting more money, more clients, better relationship. And then if they don't feel worthy of it, they sabotage. Their results go up and down, or they actually sabotage the result and they lose it. And this is because their identity, the way they view themselves, is not a match for the goal achieved. This happened over and over in the beginning of my coaching career. And I knew it needed to stop. So the answer is an identity upgrade, a self-image transformation. And so this snippet is actually part of a call so that you can see how the current view of you, the current way that you're showing up, is giving you your current results, and how you will need to start thinking about your goal achieved life to create a new identity. I'd love to hear your feedback. If this resonates, join us for Reclamation. This is a 3-month deep dive journey, and it's the base of all my work. This program works. Upgrade your identity and you upgrade your life. Enjoy it. I'd love to hear from you. Tag me in your posts and reach out with questions. Today, I want to talk about who you are with that goal achieved. And over the next 3 months in Reclamation, we're actually going to go really deep into this. However, the first step is you deciding. And this is just for you to set the foundation as we jump in. And some of this may be repeated on purpose through Reclamation. Who you are right now is not the who you are that will achieve the goal. So it's super important that we see the difference. Like, we make it so black and white. And I'm noticing as I've been diving deep into self-image and asking questions in my mastermind around identity work and self-image work, that there's some mistakes that people are making in our visualizations. And I want to set the record straight today. Who you are right now is not the her that achieves the goal. Okay, so we want to see this so clear. And I know I've said it a million times, and I know it seems obvious. Sit back and let this land. The purpose of the goal is growth. If your goal does not require change, it's not a big enough goal. If your goal, if you can achieve it by doing the same thing that you're currently doing, by showing up the same way in energy, in the way you view yourself, the same actions, it's not a big enough goal. It's probably a B goal. Holy moly. Like, I want you to think about this for a moment, because what this probably means is that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to scrap a lot of what I'm currently doing. Like new systems, new ways, new ways that I'm talking about my product, my service, my team. I'm actually going to have to scrap a lot of what I'm doing. Like, I'm really going to have to build a new model here for myself. Who you are right now and who you are with the goal achieved are totally separate. different person, up level, you change, just like who you were 5 years ago. Think what's 5 years ago, 2018 with it. Think of who you were in 2018. Like, do something, think of something. Like, does anyone else have to think of how old their kids were or something? Like, I have to ground myself in some kind of like reality to go back to 2018. I'm like, what happened in 2018? Maybe it's just me. I often look at pictures. So you could do that. Pick up your phone and look at a picture. 2018. 2018. That version of Danielle is definitely not the version of Danielle now. And in fact, when I watch the videos, like when you guys tag me in the, like me reading Think and Grow Rich, I'm like, cringe, as my daughter would say, because there's been so much growth. So just like you, the version of you 5 years ago is not the version of you now. 1 month ago, you were different. 1 day ago, you were different. Now, Maureen, you're going to probably feel this. Like 2 days ago, before you said yes to TIR, you were a different you after the decision. So then you listened to the videos, right? And you had an aha in the video from your studies this morning. And that aha, you've integrated into your awareness, which has changed you. So literally you right now in your awareness is different than what you were yesterday or last week on this webinar. You want to recognize the change. And if you aren't seeing it, red flag, red flag, red flag. If you're not noticing the change, then it would probably mean that you're taking the information in your conscious mind and you're not integrating it into the subconscious. You're keeping it as facts, like a nice to know. Does that make sense? Knowledge won't get you very far. Knowledge won't get you very far. I know that we were programmed to go to school and do all that, but the knowledge actually doesn't make a difference. It's not until we apply the knowledge. Anyway, in school, have to, use our memory to remember facts. Doesn't teach us anything. It teaches us what we know, but not what we've applied. Does that make sense? I can rant on that for a little while. Eloise actually asked, she's like, why do I have to memorize this? I'm like, good question. Anyway, so it's not what you know, it's what you've applied. So you want to recognize the difference in you. Like, I responded differently to my husband. I didn't bite his head off when he said this, because 2 weeks ago I would have. You got it? Like those kind of things. I responded differently to my daughter. I responded differently to this prospect. I showed up differently this way because of what I read this morning, quite literally. And so this takes an awareness to be applying it. The most important thing here is for you to recognize the change, that it's actually changing, like you are becoming. That's why the program is becoming, not became. Because we're in a constant process of becoming. Now, why I'm like hammering this in so much is because the mistake that I've noticed is that in the visualization, when you visualized the you with your goal achieved, the future memory that can only happen once your goal has been achieved, often if we dig deep on how you see yourself, most people are putting their current self in that vision because their current perception of them, like whether it's physical, we're so locked into how we are right now. Does that make sense? It's like a common thing. Like when you see yourself on stage accepting the award, you're taking what you see in the mirror right now and you're like, plop. We're not always taking into account the growth. So you may have noticed in some of the visualizations that I take you through, I actually have you acknowledge like what you look like. Like I say, like, look in the mirror, your body is exactly how you want it to be. Because really, like, why are we visualizing something we don't want? Like, that's crazy talk. And often what I notice is that when I'm in, especially with the one-on-one clients, when we're talking about this, they're like, oh my gosh, yeah. Like, I notice how it is, how I am now. So today I want you to start to really and maybe it's not start, maybe it's continue to really think about your future self from this goal achieved perspective. And today we're going to make it super black and white for you. Really, really black and white so you can see the change. And I'm going to give you some tools in order to recognize if right now you're showing up as your goal achieved self or your habitual paradigm self. And anytime you're not being her, doing things as her, you course correct. And I want you to bring this on to play this game in all areas of your life, especially in this container, in this community. So what does that look like? Well, first you got to decide, like, we got to paint the picture of who you are with the goal achieved. So right now we're going to do it like more high level because we're setting the foundation for what we go into in reclamation. And the reason why I'm doing this now is because I want you to show up in reclamation like this: goal achieved, goal achieved, goal achieved self. So we have the two buckets. Can everyone see the two buckets? Now, goal achieved. So you have to be your future self now. You can't just think about being the future self now. You've got to actually be it. So think about, just high level now on your sheet, what are like this goal? And also just do me a favor for the exercise of this. So take a look at your goal achieved, your goal that you wrote at the top of your page. Everyone just take a moment to look at that goal. Read it again. Does everyone have an income goal in their goal? Add a 0 right now. Add a 0. Add a 0. Now we're adding a 0 right now. No, you don't have to add a 0 to your goal. Like, I'm going to get that question from now until next Monday. I can tell. It's not that I'm having you accept it. You're adding a 0 in order to exaggerate the difference. Do you guys see what we're doing here? So add a 0 to the goal. We're going to 10x that goal. And so that might be like 1,000% more than what you're doing now. It doesn't matter. I want you to add a 0 for you to 10x who you are being in the now. Kelly, my heart started racing. The 0 changes everything. Yeah, it does. It really does. And this is on purpose to make it like very black and white difference. Now, can you see that who you are now is definitely not the person that is achieving the 10x goal? So what lessons, like, it might be even like, I don't even know what that amount of money means. Like, can you see the lessons? So we want to be pulling out like, gosh, like, in order to have that, I'd have a team of 100. Well, I need to realize how to manage 100. Like, that's a lesson. Oh my gosh, Erin's thinking, in order for that, I would have to, like, perhaps I need to learn how to franchise. You see this? Like, already ideas that you never thought of are starting to pop into your mind, lessons that and we want to start putting them on your radar. Oh my word. I'd have to learn how to distribute in 100 more countries, Erin, in order for that. I'd need to invest in systems to do this, and this. I'd need to add a lawyer to my team. I would need to add, you're seeing a bigger game we're playing. You see it? So take a moment now to write about what you see. Yeah, Heather added another 0. or bring it into the now. So Heather's question, do I go beyond the biggest I've seen in my vision? Yeah, add another 0 to that vision. So you're starting to see like the growth. And maybe like you might not totally believe it. Like maybe you, in order to start to see this, you might think of examples of others, which is natural. We know that from lesson 6. We're going to go deeper into that reclamation. Just allow your mind to bring you the ideas, however it's bringing you the ideas today. So lessons learned, different ways of viewing yourself. What's the growth in you? Oh gosh, I might need to go back to school. I might need to educate myself on that, or I might need to bring someone on the team that knows that specialized knowledge. Yeah, Sarah, that's cool. Your mind says I'm not able to take on these skills. Awesome. Who cares? It's just your mind. Jenny just totally saw a different business. If you don't want to do what it takes, Ruth, then you're going backwards. So you might as well just say bye-bye. Now, here's the thing. I'm just kidding with you a little. The thing, Ruth, is you might have the perception that you've got to do all the things, but you don't. There's a great chapter that actually released a lot for me in Think and Grow Rich. It's called Specialized Knowledge. Did you know Henry Ford didn't know anything about a motor? Like, think about this. Henry Ford didn't know how to create a motor. And he was actually, the stories in Think and Grow Rich, and he was like interviewed by a newspaper, put on trial, and like they were trying to prove that he was a scam artist. Like, and they were asking him all these questions. He's like, I don't know the answer to that, and I don't need to know the answer to that. By the push of a button, I can call someone and get the answer. So I have a team that knows all of that. So you don't need to know all of it, and you don't need to do all of it. That's a paradigm. And I used to own that paradigm. I was like, oh gosh, I've got to take this course on accounting. And I'm going to need to, I'm going to own a car. I guess I got to take a course on being a mechanic. Like, honestly, I took a course as being a mechanic when I bought my car. I don't need to know how to change the oil. I hire someone to do that. But that was like, honestly, how I thought I needed to know it all, but we don't. We need to know who knows it and call them for specialized knowledge and then have them on our team. Got it? So Ruth, I think there's something probably in the way that you've got to do it all. You don't. You hire it out. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's it, Ruth. You've got a paradigm that you think you've got to work more hours. It's not true. So that's just your old model of thinking that you've got to do it. Not true, not true, not true. So this is another thing on model. There's a great quote by Buckminster Fuller. A lot of us, when we build our images or we think about how we're going to do this, is we actually look at what we're doing right now, the way we do things right now, and we try to tinker with the way we're doing things. And we try to change the existing model. That's coming from the old. So you're going to get incremental growth from that. But what if you say F you to what's happening right now, and you create a totally new model that makes that model obsolete? So you're not upgrading this model. You're actually creating something new with your mind that makes that way obsolete. And in order for you to 10x, you're not tinkering with the way you're doing things right now. So noticing it, notice if your self-image script, you're doing incremental growth by seeing yourself getting a little better, a little better, a little better. What if you're a whole lot freaking better just like that? Just like that, a new model. Good. So now that we've 10x, can you see the growth? Can you see like the things? And it might feel like overwhelming, like all that. Just to let, yeah, it's like it's a jump. I mean, I just had you 10x your goal. So it might be like 100 times more, 1,000 times more. So it's like, that's cool. Like, let it be. We're just playing with visions right now. And we're doing this to really exaggerate the difference of who you are now and the difference between who you are becoming. And I want to make it black and white. I'm going to repeat what I said when Julianne, if you scroll back in the chat, she actually quoted me. You have to be your future self now, not just think about your future self now. Everyone write that down. Because many of you us have been thinking only of our future self and still showing up in this community as your current self. And it worked until yesterday, and it no longer works. I'm going to say that again. Many of you have been thinking of your future self on paper and showing up as your current self, not all, and that no longer works. What I mean by that is through the process, and we just had a leaders meeting, we're going to keep you accountable to your goal achieved. And you may have noticed that integrity has been really, really big in this community. So when you see your future self now, which includes your becoming, I get this, there's like an even next level version of you that's 10x your goal that we're going to call into existence. You being her now. You being her now. And it's safe to be her now in this community. This is your practice round. The 10x version. Can you see how different it is? Do you see how it's going to take something? So write this question down. What would my future 10x goal self do? That was a sneak peek into one of our lessons. I'd love to hear from you. What questions do you have? Any clarification needed? Let me know. Reach out to me through Instagram or Messenger. And if it resonates, please help me get this information out to others. I really believe that the world needs this information now. The more people that step into their truth and understand the truth of who they are, our world changes. So thank you in advance for sharing it. And please give us a 5-star review. I appreciate it. Expect abundance.